Yo, yo, welcome to the very first episode of the Unbanked podcast. Today I have a very special guest with me. I have the one and only Bonni Bravo. My guy is an elite trader, man. I met this guy, I want to say a couple months ago, and we kind of kicked it off on Zoom. And I really feel like, his story and my story resonated very well on how we got started in crypto. But, I'm not going to really get into the story too much. I'm going to let him take that over. So without further ado, I want to introduce Bonni Bravo. Bonni,
Yo,
can you
what's
just,
going on?
what's going on? What's going on, man?
Living the dream, brother.
Before we get started, I just want people to know who you are. So before we kick off, just kind of introduce yourself real quick.
Definitely. So yeah, my name is Lubin. My alter ego or Instagram social media personality is Bonni Bravo. A little bit about myself. I am 21. I am a Somali American, and I've kind of grown to enjoy this Web3 space a lot. I actually got into it straight out of high school, actually, because at the time, my goal was to be a full-time basketball player. So college basketball, NBA player. Sadly, that didn't come to fruition, and I had to go into the real world, which I hate to say it, guys, but never go with the be realistic point of view of life. That's just my quote for this whole podcast, is never go into the being realistic point of life. Always achieve the unachievable.
I like that.
So from there, I started working at Foot Locker. I'm actually based out here in Dallas, Texas. I was a big time sneakerhead. So that was kind of my hustle, just kind of flipping shoes, just trying to make an extra buck. And that kind of led me into a path of investing and trying to learn how to invest, because I realized working a job wasn't going to get me to the results that I wanted long term. And that's when I started getting into investing, started looking into stocks. Mind you guys, I'm only 21 right now. So
You young,
realistically,
man.
realistically, out of high school, I'm 18 years old. This is right before COVID happened. Literally, I got into stocks right before COVID happened. So I witnessed my entire paycheck just kind of dissipate in some stocks. And from there, okay, is
Let me
it
stop you
for
right there, though. Let's really get into that because a lot of people
yeah.
think that, when you get started in something, things are just going to pop off right away. But you said that, your first couple of trades, it wasn't going too well. So can you talk about that a little bit more and just set expectation of people just getting started?
Yeah, definitely. The reality that a lot of people don't know is that when it comes to investing or trading or anything that involves stocks, cryptocurrencies, commodities, bonds, whatever it may be, at the end of the day, it's a losing game. There's only a small percentage of people that actually succeed in that space. And that's because of a ton of hard work, a ton of sleepless nights, a ton of early mornings, a ton of studying, a ton of learning from others' mistakes, getting mentored, et cetera, et cetera. And I feel like a lot of people get into the space just assuming that it's free money, but it's not, especially in the short term. So my biggest advice to people entering the space is either option number one, look at it in a very long-term aspect. This could be you're looking at investing in things like the S&P or Bitcoin, things that are going to be here for the next, 20, 30 years, etc. Or if you want to go short-term, where this could be trading or options or futures, you have to put in the time. It's going to be similar to putting in your hours for college or your hours for job training. It's going to be hard, but it's going to be worth it, because trading, investing, futures is one of the only places where you have complete control of when you make your money, where you make your money, and how much money you make.
So you just said a lot of, good words, but most people may not know what you're talking about. So you said a couple things. You said the S&P, you said options, you said futures. Can you kind of break
Yeah.
that down on what that actually is?
So yeah, simply put, the S&P is just kind of a basket of some of the biggest stocks in America. We all are used to using Apple, your iPhone, on a day-to-day basis. We're all used to using Microsoft computers on a day-to-day basis. We're all used to using Amazon or Netflix on a day-to-day basis. And those companies have stocks where people can pretty much invest into those companies. And as the companies grow, you're able to profit from that, right? So instead of buying that new PS5, you can throw that $600-700 into Sony's stock. And as Sony grows over time, you're able to make money off of that. So next time that you buy a PS6, maybe that six could be funded from the stocks. So the S&P is simply just 500 stocks all put into a basket of one. So you're taking out the risk aspect of, let's say you only invest in Sony and Sony fails. Now you lost your money. You're taking out the risk of that and you're actually investing in every company so that your money is diversified. So you avoid more risk and gain a little bit, what's the opposite of risk? Growth, you could say?
Reward.
There you go. There you go. So yeah, that's the S&P. Options, futures, and trading are all words that essentially just mean that you are kind of guesstimating where the markets are going and you're betting with it. So let's say we take Sony, for example, again. We look at their company, we do a little bit of research on, their brand, and we're like, hey, I think, Jeff, that Sony might not be a good investment right now. So me and Jeff come to the conclusion of, you know what? Let's bet that Sony's price is going to go down. Or we can even look at this from a crypto perspective. Let's look at Bitcoin right now and be like, dude, it's at, $16,000. Let's bet that Bitcoin is going to go up over the next month, for example. Yeah. What you would do then is pretty much kind of bet with that. I hate to say bet because it makes it look like gambling, but that's just kind of the simplest way that I can explain it. And from there, whenever, let's say Bitcoin's price goes up, you're able to capitalize off of that and make a profit. And let's say our bet that Sony was going to go down, we're able to capitalize off that, which is something that separates futures, options, and trading from just regular investing, is that you're actually able to make money whenever you bet that a stock is going down or that a cryptocurrency is going down.
I like that. So just kind of walk me through your thought process. I mean, 18 years old, fresh out of high school. What made you decide to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to start trading. I'm going to start, learning about Web3 and just not going the traditional route, just going to college and doing all of that?
Realistically, because we're in a day and age right now where college just isn't that important anymore, man. Realistically, unless you're going to be a doctor, unless you're going to be a lawyer, unless you're going to be an engineer of a sort, there's no real need for college because everything can be learned at your fingertips from your phone or from your computer. We're in a day and age now where social media is taking over as well. Individuals that are able to take advantage of the experiences of real world practices, whether that be getting out there and getting a job in your space or getting out there on social media and putting your face on the camera or on a podcast, or whether it be just kind of learning from someone on YouTube for free or from a mentor for a price cheaper than college. That's honestly where we're going right now. And I realize that in the next 20 years, by the time I'm 40, realistically, social media and technology is only going to keep advancing. So it's like, at the pace that we're going right now, why practice something that was in the past when I can practice for the future?
I like that a lot, man. And speaking of the future, I know you sent me a text the other day about Chat GDP or GPT.
Yeah.
And this AI technology, man, it's getting kind of crazy, man. It's getting insane.
It's honestly dangerous, man. I was just playing around with Chat GPT the other day, and literally I was able to create a crypto course, create crypto job positions for crypto educators, NFT educators, DeFi educators. I was able to answer a ton of questions, create code for trading strategies. It's just insane what that platform is doing. I believe it was like in 5 days, they achieved 1 million users, which a ton of companies don't do for decades.
It's unheard of, man. It's just getting faster and faster, man.
Definitely. So that's a perfect example, actually, of the future, how technology is growing and how fast we're going to end up adopting it.
That's true, man. So going back to the past really quickly, what was kind of your gateway drug, in a sense, to Web3? What made you be like, yo, this is going to be game changer?
That's a great question. Initially, I got introduced to cryptocurrency in general because, like I said, I was investing in stocks and crypto. When stocks failed, at the time I was investing on Cash App, and Cash App had Bitcoin. So I was like, okay, if stocks failed, let's try Bitcoin. And I threw a paycheck into Bitcoin. Like I said, this is right after COVID, and Bitcoin at the time is $3,000-$4,000. And I got to see the entire move that Bitcoin made from $4,000 to $69,000. I mean, actually, this is way before it got to 69,000. But when I made my first couple $100s, I'm like, okay, let me actually try to dive into this a little bit more. And once you dive into Bitcoin, you dive into Ethereum. Once you dive into Ethereum, you dive into DeFi. Once you also dive into Ethereum, you have NFTs. And it kind of just was a nosedive, man. Got into Bitcoin, got into Ethereum, got into DeFi, got into NFTs, got into the metaverse, got into content creation, got into, like I said, putting my face on social media. And that's kind of just how it happened, man. It was in the matter of months, Web3 consumed everything.
That's kind of the story everybody has, man. They just fall down that rabbit hole and they just really can't turn back. It's really impossible.
Literally, man, literally.
And I'm seeing a lot of people, get it on board onto Web3, and I really love it. But I think it's going to be more impactful when people from other countries start to get onboarded. I know you said you're Somali American.
Yeah.
So you know the struggle of sending your family money, if you have any family in Somalia right now, sending them money, and the struggle of all the fees that get washed away when you send them money.
100%, man. I feel like in countries like America or London or, kind of more westernized countries, we lose sight of how tough things are in smaller third world countries. For example, let's say we talk about Somalia. It's a country right now where it's up there in crime rate. The government isn't really the best. It's war stricken, et cetera, et cetera. And just looking at it from someone that lives in America right now, sending money over there, you have to go through a Western Union or a MoneyGram.
Mm-hmm.
They take large fees. There's a time barrier. The government and banks over there not even being really friendly to individuals sending money. If they do, they take their portion as well. And then that just leaves your family with little to nothing from the amount of money that you sent them, So
Exactly.
it's definitely tough, especially you see a lot of countries like El Salvador or kind of a lot of South America is really adopting now, just accepting Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, et cetera. So yeah, definitely it is a topic that impacts third world countries and smaller countries.
Man, yeah, I agree with that 100%. I did some research, and there's a lot of people around the world that's really just unbanked, right? And that's really why I started this podcast, just kind of spread the message on the power of cryptocurrency and DeFi. Because I know for me, man, when I learned about DeFi, that shit was a game changer, man. I'm not looking back. So I definitely agree with you 100%. So let's get into kind of the present and what you're doing now. So when we last talked, you said you had a Telegram group.
Definitely.
So can you talk about the Telegram group a little bit more?
Yeah, for sure. So when I was creating social media content, started to realize that social media content can only educate so much. That one video a day can only teach one topic in 30 seconds or a minute for the day. And I realized for mass adoption to come into this space, the education needs to be abundant and it needs to be free as much as possible. So that's where I went ahead and created my Telegram group to actually make Web3 simple, profitable, and fun. From there, I believe peak bull run, we had close to 27,000 people in there. Constant daily education on every topic from coin itself to Ethereum to smart contracts to DeFi to the blockchain in general, metaverses, NFTs. We talked about everything from actually money-making opportunities from airdrops or from NFTs or metaverse games or investing, trading, et cetera, et cetera. And it's honestly an amazing opportunity to actually see individuals that you're helping every day actually make insane profits, man. In that group, I've helped 4 people actually reach 6 figures. I've helped hundreds of people reach 5 figures. I've helped 1,000 plus people just kind of make money in general. And I mean, over 2,000 people actually get educated within the space. So it's truly humbling and honoring to be able to help that many people, man.
Say that one more time for me, man. You helped 4 people make 6 figures.
That's only the people that actually spoke up about it. It might be more.
That's crazy, man. The impact that you're having right now in this space is insane, man. It's truly insane. I'm happy, man. I'm happy to see people in this space that are not the scammy type, that are not, shilling, shit coins and things of that nature, but really is trying to create impact and create change in this space. So I definitely commend you for that, man. Giving you your flowers right now. Helping people make real money. Helping 4 people make $100,000 plus is a great accomplishment, especially at your age, man. You're only 21 years old.
Definitely, man. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
Man, so, I mean, if you had to pick one sector, what would it be? If you had to choose between NFTs, DeFi, just the traditional trading, smart contracts, where would you kind of be leaning towards more?
That's tough because from a money-making aspect, I would probably go trading. But realistically, I've realized quickly that money isn't really everything. So for me personally, the one topic that I would probably go 100% in is probably Bitcoin, because I understand, as someone that's an immigrant, I mean, not an immigrant, but a second generation American from a third world country, the impact that being unbanked and not having the opportunity to actually use your money can have on smaller countries. So definitely, if I were to probably choose one, it would be Bitcoin and the technology behind it.
It's truly innovative, man. I see Bitcoin as like a digital gold, man. It's a store of value.
100%.
Once the 21 million, only 20 million are ever going to be minted, it's innovative. I think it really laid the foundation of what cryptocurrency is really about. Because honestly, there were other currencies out that tried to be decentralized, just didn't work out. So
Yeah.
Bitcoin is just really the first of its kind.
Realistically, man, yeah, probably the only of its kind.
Exactly.
If I were to go with one, my choice would be impact, and that impact would be through worldwide adoption of Bitcoin, as whether, like you said, a global gold or a way of just daily transaction.
I like that. So I know we're talking about trading a lot, how you help people make, six figures. I want to get into some of your biggest wins and losses in the trading space, because I know with social media, you can talk about, all of your wins, but it's really tough sometimes to talk about your losses too, man. It's really tough. So I want to start with the good first, and then we can talk about the bad.
Definitely, we can do that, man. So I started off in this space in 2020. Yeah, 2020, fresh out of high school. And at this time, no profit. Let's just say we go to the good and we just skip entire 2020. 2021, February was actually when I had my first $1,000 day. And that's big because at the time, mind you guys, I'm working at Foot Locker. So there's not a lot of money at Foot Locker. I was making maybe $1,500 a month or something. And to make $1,000 from my phone in a day was insane. From there, it just kind of went insane because that was my clicking moment. So that $1,000 turned into I believe $15,000 month. Later on in that year, this year actually, my biggest trading day was recently. It was a $62,000 day, and that was in August.
Oh man, that's hefty.
Yeah. Those are probably my two biggest accomplishments. First, just being that first $1,000 day, man. Because when it comes to trading, you set goals for yourself. Your first $10 day is big. Your first $100 day is big. Your first $1,000 day is big as well. The $1,000 day for me was the clicking moment. Like I would have a bunch of $100 days, but then I would just go and lose it, But when I had that first $1,000 days, when it's something truly, don't really know what it is, but that's when the tides changed, bro. And from there, that $1,000 day turned into a $15,000 month. That $15,000 turned into a $50,000 account. That $50,000 turned into a house in Somalia,
That's impact, man.
Yeah.
That's impact.
And then from there, that 50 turned into the first 100. And that 100 went towards the investment portfolio. And then from there, you have your $60,000 day. And it's just kind of definitely a blessing, especially at the age that I'm at right now. I feel like I don't really feel like it hit me yet that I'm only 21 doing some things.
Yeah.
Because I've always just hang around an older crowd. So it's definitely cool to talk about sometimes. But there, like you said, there are good and there are bad.
Before we get into the bad, I want to know how you felt at two moments. The moment when you made your first six figures and a moment when you bought that house in Somalia.
Honestly, man, six figures, the emotion wasn't really that big because as someone that is like I keep saying this whole live, a Somali American, you see a lot of bad, whether it be people starving or people that can't afford medical bills or people that can't afford to live or whatever it may be. So realistically, the money didn't really have a, oh my God, I made it moment for me, just because I don't truly feel like I've made it until I've taken everybody out of a negative point, if that makes sense.
Not finished.
Yeah, exactly. Like Kobe said.
Yeah.
So realistically, the six didn't really affect me as much. And what was that second one?
When you bought that house.
That's the one that impacted me.
Yeah.
Realistically, because like I said, the impact early on always became more important than the money. So being able to actually see people in that house or the building of it or the pictures that people send or being able to see my family travel back out there, et cetera, et cetera. That's honestly where the smile gets put on my face, man.
Man, that's crazy, man. That's impactful, man. That's inspiring to be able to take profits and not be, having shiny object syndrome. You're trying to buy, flashy jewelry, you're trying to buy chains, you're trying to buy a nice car, but you're going out, you impacting, man. You're having real impact in the world, man. I like that, man. I'm not gonna lie, I like
Yeah,
that.
definitely, bro. Definitely. No, don't get me wrong though. I am 21. I did have a little bit of fun, spent
you,
money here and
you,
there.
you had to.
Yeah, but like I said, I learned fast that wasn't just gonna make me happy.
What
I think
was your
most
number one purchase that you regret, or not you regret, but you were like, man, you know what? I shouldn't have bought this, but it is
shoes
what it
and
is.
clothes. Shoes and clothes, brother. Shoes and clothes.
Well, while you're on that topic, man, let's go ahead and pivot to some of your biggest losses. Let's talk about it.
For sure. So yeah, like I said, I started off in 2020. So realistically, when it comes to trading or investing, in the beginning, it's always full of losses. My first year was essentially just trials and tribulations, just constant losing, constant blowing accounts. Let's say I started a $500 account to trade, boom, lost. Let's say I started, another $1,000 account. I would make a little bit of profit, not withdraw anything, boom, lose it all again.
Yeah.
Investments were different because this is peak bull run, but anytime I would try to trade, it would just kind of be a loss.
Yeah.
So let's say, boom, start up another $1,000 account. I believe in total, I have blown, it's got to be close to like 10 accounts, trading accounts that I kept trying to create, make a quick bag, turn into a millionaire overnight, boom, lose. So yeah, that's definitely my losses, man. The entire first year was a loss. But
Man,
realistically, I looked at those losses as lessons.
listens. I like that. And did you see a reoccurring pattern when you had those losses? Like you were going through the same thing over and over again of you trying to get rich overnight and things of that nature?
Definitely. So yeah, definitely trying to get rich overnight, not withdrawing any funds, rushing into trades, not using my confirmations, trying to use other people's trades instead of just fine tuning mine. So those are all definitely things that caused me to lose.
So basically what he's saying is stick to the script, guys. Sometimes you may try to go off the path a little bit, and that's okay. But you always gotta remember, man, stick to your own script, because if you can't think for yourself, it's not gonna go well, man.
100%.
So what advice would you have for somebody just getting started out in trading or in crypto, want to learn more about it?
Honestly, some advice that I would give someone just now entering the space, I would give two different advices. So let's say the first person doesn't really have income. I would say don't even worry about crypto or trading. Focus on getting income. So whether that be starting a business or getting a job that creates consistent cash flow, because trading and investing isn't consistent cash flow. 1 month could be good, the next month could be bad. So I would definitely, for the first person that doesn't necessarily have a lot of money, I would 100% say start a job, not to just stay in the matrix, but to be able to have something behind you. Like I said, the entire first year was losing money. So if you don't have something to replenish that, you're just going to quit and then never go back to the space at all. So secondly, for the person that does have income consistently coming in, I would say don't worry about profiting. Focus on specifically just learning, right? Think of it just like getting a college degree. You have to put in those hours to have the knowledge, right? You're not just going to be able to get rich overnight. It's definitely something that's going to be a journey that's going to test you. So I would rather be ready for the test and study than not be ready for the test and fail. And then just like person number one, leave the space and never come back.
I like that. And what are some good tools and resources that somebody can go to utilize to learn more about the space?
Man, simple, bro. Just go to YouTube, go to Instagram, go to even TikTok nowadays and just scroll. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is, honestly. Twitter, TikToks, Instagram, YouTube. There are millions of videos out there. From there, I always like to say start free and then go to paid if you want to, right? Free content first. If you truly like a topic or like an educator or like someone's style, boom. Then from there, if they have a paid group or a mentorship program, then go into that and start learning from there. But like I said, man, everything is free that you can learn from a touch of your fingers nowadays. For all I know, I could probably get a job at NASA by learning science right now on my phone.
Man, that's facts though. Everything on the internet, this is something that, back in the day, people did not have. So we have access to literally everything at our fingertips, man. So definitely the internet is one resource that we need to be utilizing. Social media is crazy nowadays, man. You're going to come across a lot of, stuff that is purely for entertainment, but there's also a lot of educational content on, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. It's everywhere. You just got to know where to find it. So I definitely agree with that.
Definitely, man, for sure. And then write everything down too. Like I have tons of journals just floating around my house right now of just notes that I took from different educators, why I don't use them anymore, why I do continue to use them, topics that I still find interesting, topics that I can educate more on, topics that I don't really like, et cetera, man. So yeah, for sure.
I like that a lot, man. So let me ask you this: 21 right now. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
5 years. Honestly, I have no idea, man. I've never really been the person to create long-term plans just because life can change so fast. Like literally 3 years ago, I was in high
3 years
school.
ago.
It's like things can happen fast. So realistically, for me, it's just kind of on a day-to-day basis, paying the rent for the successes that I don't know are going to come, you know?
My God, you dropped the gems today, man.
So yeah, that's a question. That's a question that I hear a lot that honestly, man, I don't know, you know?
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing to not know, as long as you're taking the necessary steps to continue to grow. Because like Mr. Albert Einstein says, if you're not learning, you're dying, you know?
You got to pay that rent every day, man. Rent is due every single day.
For sure.
So I have two final questions for you, man. My first one is, what do you think is going to take for us to onboard the next million users into the crypto space?
Simplicity. A lot of this space right now is a mess, whether it be because of crazy individuals like Sam Bankman-Fried or Quan or dumb investors like BlockFi or Nexo or et cetera, et cetera. So that would be number one, simplicity. Also from different actually protocols within the space. You know, let's say I was a 21-year-old that didn't dive into this space. If you told me what a blockchain was or what a non-fungible token is or anything like that, I truly believe that I would not even care. I would have been like, bro, all right, nerd, get up on my face. You know? So I truly feel that simplicity is going to be a big thing when it comes to onboarding. Like, let's say individuals stop looking at NFTs as non-fungible tokens, which nobody can explain, to digital collectibles or digital souvenirs or, you know, something a lot more simple. Really, like my entire point of creating social media for Web3 was to make things simple, man. So I truly believe simplicity is what's going to separate just nerds and people that actually care, you know, being in the space right now to everyday individuals being in the space in the future.
I like that. So my final question is, what's one thing that you would like to see in the crypto space that you don't want to build yourself?
Great question, man. My funny answer would probably be anything that requires code because I'm not really too acclimated in that space. My realistic impact focus answer would probably be just kind of making Bitcoin a global currency, man, to where individuals can transact with whoever they want, whenever they want, wherever they want on simple terms.
Yeah. I think once you make it more simple, once the user experience gets more simple, that's when we have, you know, people be onboarded. Because right now, honestly, if I tell somebody about a smart contract or if I talk about anything pertaining to DeFi or perpetual swaps on the decentralized exchange, it's like it's going through one ear and out the other. Nobody really understands what I'm talking about. So it definitely needs to be more simple. People need to be able to access it from their phones, not having to worry about, okay, am I confirming this transaction? Is it matched up with my address? Or what is my wallet address? Why is it so long? It's a lot of different things in this space right now that is difficult if you're not in it or if you're an older individual. So let's say you're 50, you've been using cash all of your life. You just got a credit card like 5 years ago, maybe. And I'm telling you to confirm transactions with your ledger. Or I'm telling you to write down your life savings on a piece of paper or a metal steel plate. It's like, it's a different way of thinking. I think once we make it more simple, I think life will be a lot easier.
100%. I'm there with you.
So, man, where can people find you, man?
So Instagram, Bonni Bravo, Twitter, Bonni Bravo. That's really the main two platforms that I use right now. Over time, YouTube will come. TikTok's not really a fan of me. They keep blocking my accounts, but realistically, yes. So yeah, Instagram and Twitter both at Bonni Bravo, Banni Bravo.
Perfect. And if somebody wants to join your Telegram group, how can they, you know, look it up or?
Yeah, so on both Instagram and Twitter, in my bio, all my links are there. So Telegram is there, my guides are in there, everything that you need is going to be there.
Perfect, man. So before we close out, any last words you want to tell the audience?
I tell everybody here to make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast. podcast, because this guy right here, Jeff, is definitely someone that I believe is coming in here with a genuine intent to educate and genuine intent to impact lives. So this is definitely someone that I truly feel like will do that and actually will have a large audience doing so. And I hate to say it, but I was the first one here. So I don't know who's gonna be subscriber number 1,000,001, but I'm number one. So
I
it's
appreciate
definitely
that, man.
for sure, my man. So definitely my closing topic would definitely be to subscribe to my man.
Well, y'all heard it here first, man. Y'all go ahead and press that subscribe button. We got some things we got planned, man. We got some exciting things, man. Like when we get that first estate on Sandbox and Essential Land, it's gonna be crazy on the stuff I got planned, man. I got some spicy stuff. So listen to this, man. He's not gonna lead you the wrong way. Listen to him, subscribe, and yeah, that's the end of the podcast, man. I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.